Well, say good afternoon. I don't know what time it is now. I'm going to say good afternoon. And look at this. I've just stepped outside the house and it's starting to rain. That's my luck. Anyway, let's do a quick tour of things whilst we're out here. Probably worth going around. I've got some things to unplug as well, because despite the particularly good weather this morning, dog, and good weather this morning, I was going to put my 2-meter antenna back up today, but the word is we've got thunderstorms tonight, so won't be doing that. And I've had a good morning out and about. I've had a few other things to do other than radio, so I've not put my 2-meter antenna back up. So yeah, if you've not heard me on 2 meters or 70 cents, that's why, because my antenna's down. It does get out from here, this low. Even with this wire up here, it's still, I can still hit the Isle of Wight Ventnor repeater. Mostly to put it up its full height. It's about reaching the other side of the hill in Bournemouth. But I'm not putting it back up. I'm not going to rush it, that's for sure. And because I took it down, not in a rush, but I took it down quickly the other day. I dropped a bolt, and hopefully the gardener has been, but I've got to find that bolt. It's probably in there somewhere. Anyway, I'll be putting my 2-meter antenna up today, and I'm going to unplug it now, just for safety's sake. And I know on these connectors, I've got another little project to do. Oh, come on. And look at that already. And look at that already. That's already getting a bit dirty in there, isn't it? So yeah, got to get that project going on. So I'm going to make some waterproof connectors that go in here to keep these connectors, these barrel connectors, safe. But you don't want to be losing any kind of power, or worse still, making the signal worse. So yeah, thunderstorms tonight, well predicted, so I'm not going to do this in a rush. There you go, you little rascal. See the Yagi in the background there. Not sure what to do with that, might dismantle it, don't know. But yeah, yeah. But there's the end fed, doing a brilliant job on 80 meters, really is. Making various contacts, telephony contacts, and just listening. Really, really nice. UK antennas. And here's the other thing. I think we was discussing this. Another amateur radio operator that makes particularly good videos, going out doing not QRP, because it only runs 100 watts, but yes, was running NFED, and I have no radials. You could say that the feed line is a radial, but I do have very good bonding, so I know that this goes to ground, and I've got my feed line, my earth line, which then goes into this rather nice big copper stake that is really deep into the ground here. I do have another one, maybe if I see it on the way around I'll show it to you, one out of ground. That's how deep that goes down. But yes, still get a bit of noise with this antenna, but with the DSP unit from BHI, it's just absolutely fantastic. If I had to keep one antenna up out of all of them, it would be this one. It's just been so good. So yeah, I mean, I do like my 6B TV as well, but this is just get it up in the air, and it does the job. A really well made piece of kit, and it gets you out 80, 40, 20, 17, 15, 12 and 10, and it does it all with fantastic SWR readings. Might be worth putting my analyzer into that. That's another thing. I mean, I'm going to see how well the weather holds out, and let's put my analyzer on this antenna as well, something I've never done. Anyway, just keep going on with the tour. For God's sake there. Right, do I have a copper rod here? Do I have the same one? Here we are. That's how that one's bent. And that's how deep it is. And we saw that had about that much in it coming out the top, didn't it? But it is, they're really good. That come from the ham radio store, you know the place to go. But yeah, I got a couple of them. I've got, you know, obviously one just sitting there spare. All my kind of redundant antenna stuff tends to go at the moment. Sadly, my NOAA antenna's down there as well. My Hustler antenna for the 50 megahertz, which I can't use at the moment, and no expectation I'll be getting my full license at any time soon. So yeah, but like this is doing really good. The Barenko ground mount, just look at this, all the wind and everything we've had recently. Can't say how good this is. It really is a fantastic piece of hardware. It's just been sat here doing its job, keeping this what is this? It's just an aluminium pole with a mast. So obviously I couldn't run this full height. So I originally planned to run a 4080 dipole, mate, if you've seen the other videos. So in the end I used, to get it back on 80, I used my end fed and ran it through the top here. So that effectively it shortens it, so it doesn't take up the whole garden. I don't need to run two fishing poles full height to keep the HV up, but it's just been good as anything. Sat here doing its job really well. No guying at this stage, just a really good base, good sturdy lower section of that mast, and the end fed going through it. It's doing well. So let's carry on where we're going. So as you can see, I've got all my radials out, and I've been in discussion with some other, some very experienced other amateurs who've been looking at my readings from the antenna, and also looking at the pictures and of my antenna. So the first thing I was suggested was, like, they could understand from an engineering perspective why this connector exists, obviously because it grounds it to the plate, and then you then take the feed line. But of course, when you put that feed line in here, you're extending the length, electrically the length of the antenna is in there. So the first thing he suggested was, like, put your feed line straight in the base, which I've done, and to make your earth to the plate, which I've done. And so I've got a nice bit of copper strap here, got to bolt together and put that onto the radial plate, and that's working fine. But the next thing I've got to do, which is what the grinder is about, I don't know, the weather's been really indifferent. It's been a real rascal, and I don't like doing power tools in the wet. One, because the electric, and two, I don't want to slip. So you have to excuse my ignorance, but hopefully we're all learning something here. I know this here is a scaffold pole which I've cut down, and it goes into the ground. And it goes into the ground as far as that blue turner there. And at the bottom it's got some sand and some gravel, just to stabilise and drain it. But of course also it's an earth rod. But because it's a scaffold pole, it's galvanised. So what I've been recommended to do, and I think it's a really sound suggestion, is the places where it joins on is to strip the galvanisation away. which will then make this a better earth rod. So that's what the angle grinder is for. I'm thinking two things here. My feed line comes from the left. At the moment it's stretched around, which isn't ideal. Really, the idea of having the feed line come underneath the radials was that it wouldn't interact with the radials at all. So I need to get the feed line closer to the base of the antenna, to the feed point. So what I'm thinking of doing is looking at, I know how far that is, I think that's about 5 meters out that way. Have I got that space out that way, and then turn the whole base so it's on this side, it's tilting this way. At the moment the tilt base. Right, hello everyone. So the well book's been moved and I'm happy to say it's receiving WeFax, Whisper and other stuff perfectly fine for its new location on the other side of the house. So good news there. 6p TV, I've taken it down, measured it that side just to make sure it's 7 with the 80 metre element on the top of it. It's 7 metres and 50, between 7 metres 30, 7 metres 50. Measured out that way, that's how far that tape measure is now. So obviously I've got the trees there to contend with as ever, but it does fit. So plan is to rotate the mast, rotate the antenna, say not quite 180 degrees, but close to it, say 160 I would say. 160 degrees to that direction, and that would make the feed line in the correct location if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because the feed line's at the bottom there. If I rotate that 160, it will then come in from that side, which is all good news. So yeah, I've sharpied up where I want to grind I don't want to grind the whole pipe, I want to grind the bits where it's making contact. So I've put on some electrical tape and a Sharpie line just as a guide really. The next thing for me is to undo these bolts. They're 30mm bolts, so I've got one 30mm spanner. Got a 30mm spanner and a 30mm for one of these sets. Well, actually this one goes up to 12, but the other one he goes up to 13. So yeah, I'll be using that on the other side whilst I'll turn one side. I'll be undoing it with that. So I'm only going to loosen them. I should be able to lift it up, but we'll work that out. The first things first, let's loosen the bolts off. 2 Echo 0, Foxtrot Whiskey Echo. Hello ladies and gentlemen, as you can see I've rotated the 6p TV around. What I have forgone is I've ground down the top, so you can see there where the mast attaches on. It's ground down nicely. I mean, I wanted to do there and there from the base as well. But those nuts there are really tricky, and I feel like if I push them too hard it's going to snap, and I don't really want to have to replace something I don't have in stock, or I don't have here. So yeah, I've not gone and stripped the lower part. There's no direct connection between here and the earthing plate, but we do have this earthing strap which is between the antenna and the grounding plate, the radial plate. So the measurement was all good, all fits nicely in that direction. The feed line It's going in nicely. Did get a little bit crooked, don't mind saying. The plate that goes on the outside did get a little bit crooked, but that's okay, a minor thing. But yeah, grinding's done here, which is the most important thing. That's what I really wanted to do, to get the, what do you call it? Oh god, I can't really. Obviously expose the bare metal to the mast, to the clamp, which I think it's doing very well. I think the next step, I mean, the weather is just so changeable at the moment. As you can see, I've got grey clouds and blue sky here. It's really moody, the weather. So yeah, I'm going to tidy my electrical tools away and make sure that I'm safe electrically, so the power line comes in my window. So I'll do that and then get this vertical and then start with some measurements, see how much time I've got left and how well I'm feeling. Don't mind saying this is a, you know, don't see the bits in between. Taking this all down and putting it up, you know, it does take a toll, and you have to be really careful along the way. Don't want to rush something like this. You have to be careful. Angle grinders are not forgiving, so hence, yeah, that's why I've not done these bottom two bits. But yeah, I'm glad this has gone on okay. I'll be putting it back vertical and then popping back inside just to see whether I've got any reception for it first, and then to do some SWR checks from the transceiver, and then the next step is, the whole point of this is to get the rig expert, and I've now got some calibrated measures which will go on the end of the coax, essentially nulling out the effect of the coax. So when I plug it into the antenna, I will be reading the measurements from the antenna itself and not the antenna and the coax. So I'll see how I get on. I'll get it back up and have a bit of a break and see how we go. So 2 Echo 0 Foxtrot Whiskey Echo. And my, it is windy. Now look at that. That roach pole is taking a beating, but my god, it does stay up okay. Yeah, it's been up in all weathers, so there we are. 73. Well, it's getting slightly darker and certainly very wet. So I'm calling it a day for today. I won't be doing any measurements, so I won't be able to see what, if any, improvements this has made as of yet. Antenna's going some. I may even tilt this base down. I think that'd be the sensible thing to do, because we have got lightning coming tonight, so I don't want to fry my equipment. I'll be turning everything off and put my antenna down, making use of the tilt base. Anyway, everything's operational in the shack, which is good, but SWR reports are on the 7300 are, you know, where they were. What I'm interested in is seeing the X and Y graphs, so that'll be something to do. Hopefully when this weather improves next week, I'll be able to do it. But anyway, thanks again. Hope you're enjoying these videos. Hopefully next week I'll have the X and Y values. Until then, stay safe and 73. 2 Echo 0 Foxtrot Whiskey Echo. Well, I'm safely back in the shack now. It's already like, I don't know what time it is exactly. Let's have a look. That's 6:30, isn't it? Yeah, without 4:30, okay, no, 4:30. Anyway, I'm a bit tired, and the weather forecast is for lightning tonight, so I've unplugged all my antennas from the antenna end, 6B TV, end fed, and you saw me do the 6 meter, sorry, the 2 meter antenna earlier. So they're all unplugged. So everything's safe and sound, and what's the other one I've unplugged? Wellbrook, yeah, the Wellbrook's offline. because of the lightning. So I know that's really low down, but it only takes one bit of lightning to hit that, and that's it. So yeah, all in all, I'm happy that I've at least got the antenna in the place I want it to now, in the right direction, and hopefully when the good weather returns, or i.e. it's not raining, I can get out there with a test meter and enjoying getting the XY results. So can I show you the bits that I've received, or should I just leave that for the next time? I think I'll leave that for the next time when I'm actually going to use them. But yeah, glad at least I got the grinding done today and got the antenna moved around. So that's good news, isn't it? That's a bit of progress. So hey, for very quiet radios, maybe I could have a bit of a tidy up, make use of the time. 2 Echo 0 Fox Whiskey Echo, wishing you all well. Take care, stay safe, stay in the crease.